Welcome to the Student Hub Live Refreshers Orientation Induction event. This session is called Stay Well, Study Well, and we're going to talk about some practical steps to improve your well-being, which in turn can improve your studies. So we're going to talk about taking control of your well-being, staying connected, managing your time, stationery, confidence and other worries, and finally, about motivation to study. So joining me to discuss this is Mychelle Pride, who you've seen on our hot desk, who is a student experience manager here at the Open University, and Emma Jones, a lecturer in law. Now, what brings you here to talk about well-being today? It's very important.
It is, yes, and as working in the law school, I've been doing quite a lot of research around well-being and been talking to quite a lot of students about how it impacts them, because the important thing to realise is well-being impacts everybody. Sometimes people think well-being is about whether you have a particular mental health condition, such as anxiety and depression, but actually you could have a mental health condition but have great well-being because you're managing it well, you're looking after yourself, you know, you're coping with everything life throws at you, whereas you might not have a particular mental health condition but actually your well-being might be quite low because, you know, you're not looking after yourself, you're not managing the basics, you're not enjoying life. So it's really something that matters to everybody.
Now, we've got one of our hardest questions for people at home, which is what makes you feel happy? So you need to enter 3 things in there, but if you can only think of 1 or 2, that is absolutely fine. Just put a full stop in and your results will submit. And the other thing we'd like to know is how you're feeling about your upcoming studies. So if you can fill those in for us, then we can incorporate them. I know what makes me feel happy is my dog.
Oh my goodness. Well, I have a study buddy here. This is my study buddy, Gary. Gary's a cat, and he sits with me. He sits on the paper, he sits on the keyboard, he sits on the book. But the key is we'd like everybody in the audience to send in pictures. We've got some on the board already, but send in pictures of their study buddies because we do love to share study buddies.
It's always making you feel really happy looking at other people's pets.
Makes me feel so happy, exactly. And Emma, you've got pets too.
I have 3 cats and a dog, yes. So I have lots of pets. They're not allowed to sit on my laptop, but they're always around.
Especially not the dog.
No.
We had somebody who came to one of our other events how heavy was that dog? It was about really heavy. It was massive, wasn't it?
It was, that's right, yes.
So HJ, what are you doing with these pictures then?
Well, we've been putting a couple on our board, which I've been really excited about. So we had the view from the hot desk to start off, and we've got Katie's study buddy, I think his name is Jack. And we got Laura's study buddy Tiff as well, who has a hot drink at the ready, which is needed this morning. It was very cold. And we put a few of our favourite study tips on the board as well. So Davin's one, take time to rest. Absolutely agree with that. I think I do more resting than study, but I am productive when I study, so that's okay. And Patrick's tip got put up by Mychelle saying, I'm going to enjoy the journey and see where it takes me. We absolutely love that. So if there's anything else you want to send in to us, you can email us, studenthub@open.ac.uk, or tag us on Twitter @StudentHubLive, and we'd love to put it on the board. It could be the view from where you are, it could be a study buddy, your favourite piece of stationery. We absolutely love seeing that, so send it in.
Absolutely. Yes, Liz left her biscuits here, and since possession is 9/10 of the law, I think, isn't it, Emma? Actually, don't talk to law colleagues about this. No. Right. Emma, you were talking about well-being, and you made the point here that, you know, it's about managing your well-being. It's not about necessarily having conditions. So what do we do to then maintain positive well-being and, in fact, get it in the first place?
I think the first thing to say is look after the basics. And it might sound obvious, but when you're studying and you've got a lot on and you're juggling everything, actually you might forget to eat as well as you should. You might be not building in the rest. You might be not having enough sleep. You might just not be looking after yourself and listening to those signals that your body's sending you. So actually the first thing to do is really make sure you've got the basics covered and don't let them slip because you're busy. Yeah. And then after that, I think it goes to the way you approach your studies and being as organised as you can around them and trying to maintain that balance in your life.
Yeah. No, it's really important, isn't it? I mean, eating well is essential. In fact, we've got a replay that we'll play later, Study Like a World-Class Athlete, which has got tips on the best food to eat.
I see, Karen, you've got some good food here. So you've got some fruit and then you've got some homemade flapjack.
I do.
And you know exactly what you're putting into it. So,
Yeah.
But I think that's right. Make sure that you eat properly, that you have regular meals, that you take breaks. Breaks are really important, and that you sleep well. And that is so hard sometimes when you've got the pressures of life, the pressures of study, and sometimes it is really hard to sleep. So I think it's about removing electronic devices if you can from the bedroom.
Yeah.
It's about not looking at electronic devices maybe half an hour before you go to bed, which is a real challenge for most people, I think.
Yeah.
My husband included. He's on Twitter until the second he goes to sleep.
Yeah.
So I think it's really important that you create that clear space, and then you can relax into the sleep, have a good night's sleep, and don't think, oh, I've got to get up really, really early, or I can only have this many hours sleep. Get the sleep you need, because you'll study better if you sleep well, if you eat well. And the other key point is exercise. Now, for many people, exercise makes you groan, but I think the most important thing is finding something you like. So I'm addicted to ice skating. So at the minute I'm ice skating every morning before work. I can't get enough of it. Probably spending a bit too much.
Just in the car park.
No, this is not just in the car park. I think I'm spending probably too much time on my ice skating. I probably need to reassess, because I'm a student as well. I'm studying at the moment. So I find that balance between the exercise, the work, and the studying. But Emma, you've got a hobby too.
Yeah, I like trampolining. So I don't do that every day, but I do it once a week, and we do have a trampoline in our garden. So actually it's a really good fun thing to do, and it makes you completely forget everything else.
Yeah.
But when I can't trampoline, if I'm sat at my desk, what I tend to do is I have got, and someone said in the last session about mindfulness, I have got my mobile phone, and I have got a little free app that does some meditations and things, and does some stretching exercises and all those bits. So even if I can't really move, or feel like I can't move away from my desk, actually there's still little bits I can do, just standing up, walking around, stretching, all those bits.
It sounds like so much of it is sort of physical, in terms of nourishing yourself, doing things you like, making time for things. But also I'm just sort of thinking back to that last session where we had students talking about not comparing yourself to others, and it seems to me that there's so much in your head as well that really matters about how you can get in the right mindset, so that you aren't beating yourself up, lying awake worrying, thinking I've got to get up so I can do that 8 hours studying or write that assignment. It's about being targeted and focused, isn't it?
So it is about planning. It's thinking about, first and foremost, where am I going to study? So if you have a study space that you can set aside, and that can vary. It could be the bedroom, it could be a study, it could be the kitchen. Find a space that is your study space. And then also it helps...
Invite all your pets.
Yeah, invite all your pets, that's right. On Student Home, for each module, there's a study planner. So print that off, put that somewhere visible. And then I like to use my calendar to set out when things are due. So maybe I've got an assessment that has 4 different questions. I'll say which weekend I'm going to do each question. I'll put that in my calendar. So I'll try and start ahead, and I'll try and get on it as early as I can. But that doesn't always happen. So at the minute I am genuinely panicked about my assessment that's due on the 20th of February. I'm not where I should be. So I've got to stop beating myself up about that, because I was yesterday going, oh my God, I can't believe I've only done this much. So take a break, take a step away, and re-plan. And I say the plan is a life jacket, not a straitjacket. Yeah. And don't get caught up in knots if you can't stick to the plan you first set out. So do look and see when things are due. Do set yourself a plan, and also tell your friends and family. So people know, this is my study time, please don't interrupt me, it's really important that I have this time now. And another thing that I do is I set a little timer, so every hour it pings and I get up and walk around. And I find that really helps, because I can find myself sinking down on the sofa, my back start to hurt, I'm surrounded by books, I'm not eating properly, and then I go, I'm hungry, I grab something that's not good for me. Yeah. So setting that timer every hour, is having something a little bit healthy if I'm hungry, making sure I'm drinking enough water, and that really helps me refresh my brain to get back into the studying, but letting friends and family know this is my study time. Yeah. And asking them to not necessarily be involved. And then I know you love this, Karen. This is my tea bell.
Oh yes, I love your tea bell.
And
excellent.
I joke about this, but if I'm studying and I need a little something, hubby! And my husband is very good at coming and getting me something, to some sustenance or a break, or even just coming and listening. Maybe if I want to talk something through, it really helps to talk to someone about, if you're stuck on a question, I might ask him, I'm not understanding this question, am I reading it right? And sometimes you've been too focused on it and you can't see actually what it's asking because you're getting hung up on the individual words.
How did you manage to negotiate this? Because I can imagine if I took that home, I would be in so much trouble.
Well, it's a two-way street, and my husband recently had something happen, and someone sent me a medal, and it said "Understanding Wife." So it is a two-way street. He's very understanding of me, and I'm very lucky because we help each other and support each other.
Yeah. So a lot of it is about negotiating, I guess, when you need people there, when you don't, and how that actually supports your well-being.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's about knowing when to reach out to people as well, because some things we've heard from students is they can feel a bit isolated and that they're on their own. But actually you're not, you're part of a community. And as well as your family and friends, there are lots of people here at the OU who know exactly what you're going through and want to help. So you've got your tutor, and in the last session people talked about how important their tutors are, and they're great people to turn to. But also the student support teams are there as well. If you've got more general issues, then there's people like the library, there's people like the computing help desk. There's so many people about for you to get help from when you need it. And it could be a more casual thing, going along to a tutorial, speaking to other students who are probably in the same boat. It could be more formal, phoning someone like your tutor, but either way, the people there to help you.
Yeah, no, it's so important. I'd like to take a look at what makes you feel happy. So when we've got that ready, we'll show you all at home. And if you haven't filled that in, if you can enter a couple of things in there now. HJ, how's everyone at home?
We're doing really well. We've got loads of lovely comments of the things that makes us happy. And I think Patrick's a standout comment. Patrick says, my fiance, 6-week-old identical twin boys. And knowing that I'm not perfect, but my partner and boys love me perfectly. I think that's an absolutely lovely comment, and I'm sure that makes Patrick very happy. And Susan is really enjoying all the tips, find them very encouraging, says don't beat yourself up, we're all at our own pace. And some of us are struggling a little bit. Curtis works very long hours, and Sue, she loves the timer to move about. She thinks that's a great idea. One thing that I would like to ask Emma and Mychelle, maybe a top tip, is what do we do if we struggle with concentration? I find this as well. I'm so distracted. I sometimes just can't get into it. What would you recommend?
I think my first tip is drink water.
Yeah.
I know that sounds really basic, but if you're dehydrated, you can't concentrate. So I think drinking water is a really good starting point for concentration.
I think breaking things down into really small chunks as well. If you know you can concentrate for, say, 15 minutes, start by doing that 15 minutes, reward yourself, watch a bit of a programme, have a chocolate bar, something healthy, and then build it up. Then next time try 20 minutes, then try 25, and just, be gentle with yourself, but gradually build it up and just keep it all manageable. If you try and save everything up and do it one day of the week, it's going to feel quite overwhelming. Yeah. If you keep doing these small chunks and just keep rewarding yourself, then that's a much better approach, I think.
Yeah.
And also there's a music channel I listen to, which is Music for Concentration. So that helps me too. So thinking about your setting of where you are studying and making that peaceful can help you concentrate as well.
Oh, well, I see your T-bells work, Mychelle, but only for you, not for us. I've still got my healthy fruit and
well, that's why the way you look. That's why you look the way you do, and I look the way I do. Let's be honest.
Nutty. Right, let's take a look and see what everyone said when we asked you what makes you feel happy. Good results. Cake, excellent. Chocolate, success. Sunshine, oh, I love sunshine. My 2 cats, music, nature, learning new skills, plans for the future, being on schedule, husband and son, kitten, Kelvin, morning fresh air, lush bath bombs, oh yeah. My family and dog, my Labrador, my wife, pets, nephews. So lots of pets, stationery, interested in learning, being in the moment. Those are wonderful things. I think sometimes, especially when you're not concentrating and, it all feels a bit much and things, it's hard to remember what makes you happy. I was telling someone that they should write a list of some of the things that make them feel happy so that you can then go back to it when you're not happy and remember what they are. Because actually the other day I opened the front door and it was beautiful sunshine and I just sat there with my dog for a minute and just thought, oh, it's just so nice just to sit still and be before I then tore off and do.
That's right. But we both feel very strongly that it's about being grateful too. And that helps with the motivation and being grateful that you're studying.
Yeah.
That's not an opportunity everybody gets.
No.
And so it's taking advantage of that opportunity.
And hopefully You should enjoy your study and it should make you happy. And I know there will be the odd moment where you're stressed and you're thinking, oh no, this is really hard. But actually, overall, if you've got that long-term goal and that long-term aim that you're working for, then it's a fantastic thing that you're doing that. So, you know, hopefully that will be something you'll have on your happy list.
And they say that the power of a written goal, so write down what your goals are, maybe a goal within a module, a goal within an assessment, and then there's the overarching goal as well. And we had someone say, close your eyes and visualize yourself walking across a graduation stage.
Yeah.
Now that's a great thing to be able to do, to see yourself finishing. And in the first instance, it might be seeing yourself finishing the assessment and getting the mark back, or it might be finishing the module.
Yeah.
But again, chunking it down, but focusing on the outcome and why you're doing it. Remember why you're doing it.
Because that also goes back to not comparing yourself. If you have your own definition of what success is going to be for you, then you can focus on that. And it doesn't matter what other people are saying because you know what you're aiming for.
Now, who's this, Mychelle?
well.
Is this going to bring us yet more abundant food on this side of the table?
Unfortunately, no. This is my worry monster, and the worry monster is absolutely brilliant. So the worry monster has a zip, and what you can do is you can write down your worries in it, close it. So we've got some worries in here. We'll look at it in just a minute. Close it, zip it up, leave it overnight, and when you come back in the morning, now it's for parents to actually take the worries out for the kids and it's empty in the morning, but I think it's a great idea anyway to be able to just think, right, I'm putting my worry in there, I'm going to put it away and then hopefully, you know, come back the next morning. So I'm just going to grab a couple of these out of here, some that we have before. Should I worry?
Oh, that's a good one. Where's the psychology department?
Actually, because I'm one of those people, I do worry. If I'm worrying, I worry that I'm getting over-worried. And it does raise a good point about stress, that people think, oh no, I'm getting really stressed out. And stress isn't necessarily a bad thing. Okay, so a little bit of stress can be a good thing. It will motivate you. So if you know you've got your assignment due soon and you feel a bit behind, you can use that stress that you're feeling to actually get you sat down and writing and doing what you need to do. But at the same time, it's knowing that if you're worrying all the time and you're very stressed all the time and it's getting to an unhealthy state and it's really impacting on your life, then that's when you need to reach out and talk about that and get some support from, say, your tutor or the student support team.
Right, let's grab another one over here and see what it says. I am worried everyone in my group is better than me.
I think that goes back to the comparisons, doesn't it? It's really hard. I know it's hard not to compare, but actually you really need to know what you want to do and how you want to succeed. And, you know, you can talk to your tutor about that and they can give you some guidance on meeting your goals. And I think part of that goes back to being in Facebook groups and WhatsApp groups, which are great and a good way to support each other. But actually sometimes you have to take it with a pinch of salt, because, you know, you don't know what people are saying, if it's true, you don't know if it's exaggerated, you don't know how representative that is of all the students. So I think you just have to be a bit careful, don't you?
And like you said, the deadline is the deadline for the assignment, so it doesn't matter if someone's 7 weeks ahead. It's still the same
I
deadline.
was going to say, I think if your assignment's due on the 20th of February, I would be worrying about that on about the 18th.
Let's see what else we've had. Please help me. I'm concerned I have signed up for the wrong module. Can I change? So in that instance, I think the best thing to do is to contact the student support team, because the student support team can talk you through your choice of modules and can help you. Maybe it's something else you're worrying about. Maybe it is the module. Maybe it isn't the module. But can really figure out what's going on and try and help you and put the right support in place for you.
Yeah, and we've got some colleagues from the student support team coming along later today, so they'll fill us all in on the things that they can offer.
Do you have time for more? I have no idea
One
what time
more,
we have.
yes.
One more. Okay, let's see. I am worried that if I study too much, I won't be a good parent.
Yeah, I get this.
Yeah, I get this because I've got 3 children and, yeah, permanently have kind of mum guilt about it. But actually, a lot of my students have said that they find they're setting a brilliant example to their children, because they'll sit there, and especially with older kids, they'll be doing their homework and they'll sit with them with their laptop or their books doing their work. And actually they're showing, you know, you're showing your kids what you can achieve, and you're setting a really good example being a role model. So, you know, it's not always easy, but it's worth it.
Yeah, and there's lots of parents with babies and teens in the chat and things. I think it does set a really good example, and especially when you're not doing so well. And sometimes when things are hard, I've been trying to improve my cycling lately, and I said to my daughter, you know, Mummy's not so good at this, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and practice and practice and practice, and then I'm going to get better. And she sort of saw that actually you don't have to be brilliant at everything, but you can put in work and improve. And I think just in addition to studying, not being perfect and being okay with that can be a really good example.
We're not all going to be Olympians. We're not all going to be Nobel
All
Prize
right.
winners. We're not all going to be Nobel Prize winners, but we're taking part.
Yeah.
And that's what matters.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, we asked everyone at home how they feel about their upcoming studies, so let's see if there are any worries in there. So a few things. Some people are feeling cautiously optimistic, slightly nervous, earnest, frazzled, daunted, motivated, keen to start, inspired, excited is the key word there. But there's a lot of variety there, Mychelle and Emma, isn't there?
Yeah, and I think that's quite natural. And I think probably people feel a mix of emotions around being anxious and nervous, but also excited and motivated. And that's absolutely fine and absolutely normal. And it is a journey. And especially if you're just at the start of the journey, you know, it is going to be a bit of a mixed bag of emotions. But as you go through, you have your help and support, you know, if you focus on your goal, be kind to yourself, look after yourself, and, you know, there's lots you can achieve.
And I think if you start to worry, if you start to have a problem, ask for help. Don't let it grow. There are so many people who can help you. As we've said, the tutor in the first instance, the student support team, your family, your friends. There's so much support available that when you're starting to struggle, that's the point to ask for help. Yeah. And you'll be amazed at what kind of things can be put in place to help you.
Okay, so say everyone's in this sort of position and we're all looking forwards. How do you recommend that people sort of stay on track and keep looking forwards, keep being motivated by the thing that's driving them, that goal, that graduation?
Celebrate small victories.
Okay.
I think whatever that might be, and those victories will be different for different people. For one person, it's getting an assignment in. For another person, it's getting a top mark on an assignment. For another person, it's finishing the module. There are all different reasons why people can be excited and can celebrate.
Yeah, it's definitely true. Make the most of the journey because, you know, if you're in it for the long haul, you have to enjoy those little victories. You have to try and enjoy what you can about it. So, yeah, definitely. And building in those little treats and incentives as well.
If you have the opportunity to do a vlog or a diary or a journal or something like that, then you can look back and be amazed at how far you came. Yeah. And I like watching, sometimes people do a little compilation from me at the beginning to me now. Yeah. And it's really interesting to see what you're worried about then is so different from what you're worried about now. Yeah. You think, oh God, I was worried that if I turned up to face-to-face, I wouldn't have the right paper or the right pen or wouldn't be able to find the room. And now, you know, I'm worried about the way I'm writing my assignment. So it changes, and it's interesting to see how it changes.
Now, you've asked us to end by asking everyone at home to put something in the box about something that they might consider doing for their well-being that they haven't thought of before. So if you could put something in there, maybe there's been an idea or you've been sharing things or someone else has inspired you in the chat to think about something that you might do, please put those in and we'll come back to those in just a minute because we need to end the session as all good things must come to an end.
Emma, did you have any last words? You're the specialist, the academic
What I would
specialist in
say
wellbeing.
is, when you've thought of something, do something to remind yourself. Put a note in your mobile phone, put a note in your calendar. If you're going to eat more healthily, put a bowl of fruit on the table. Yeah. Something to nudge your memory and keep you, you know, focused on what you're going to do. And it is just about making sure that you are being kind to yourself, you're looking after yourself, and you keep that going.
Brilliant. So it's actually doing something small, even if it is something small, to take that step forwards. Lovely. Emma and Mychelle, thank you so much for coming along. It's been a wonderful session, and I know the chat's been really, really full of lots of discussion and ideas. We're going to end now by showing you a student video. We've looked at various aspects of the student experience, and Alice is going to talk about studying with depression, and then Georgina's going to come and show us the VLE, the virtual learning environment, which is an incredibly important space online that you'll be using in your studies. We'll see you in a few minutes.